Hello, welcome to another edition of Tlo's Thoughts. Today's topic is drink deeply, hold lightly. The saying drink deeply, hold lightly is one where I don't know the origin. Looking through the trove of ideas in my notes app, it was an early edition, appearing on April 4th, 2019. What was I doing that day to provoke me to write that down? Was it from a book I read, a movie I saw, or completely original to me? Looking back, I tried to decipher the intended meaning behind these four words. I thought about what I may have been doing on that day when I wrote this phrase into my notes app. I would have been a freshman in undergrad, taking courses such as an easy intro to chemistry class with an amazing teacher, a sweet but stern old lady who couldn't wait to retire and spend time with her grandkid, a general biology course with a professor whose sardonic humor, love of birds, and passion for the subject would end up being one of my grad school references down the road. Likely a leadership studies course, as I was taking courses for this leadership scholarship group I was in. Then finally, a cool Mesoamerican class with a captivating professor, able to reel us into a world that is wholly enriching and underrepresented in my daily life. So I was likely not feeling challenged on the educational side. Socially, I was in a fraternity, a predominantly white one at that, which made me feel isolated and emotionally insecure. I was in a dorm hall with a combative neighbor who was my ex-roommate, and very racist himself. So when dealing with the daily stresses of interacting with many of the factors around me, I must have had to find ways to not take the consistent insults to my identity to heart. So maybe to drink deeply, hold lightly, was a reminder to not let the behaviors of others dictate your perspective on the world. Or maybe I was trying to find a way to experience moments deeply without allowing them to completely change my view on reality. What I do know is how I use this phrase in my everyday life. When I find myself overwhelmed by a decision that needs to be made, this phrase comes to mind. It coincides often with the phrase, think fast, act slow, where I try to recognize the immediacy of my decision while also not foregoing thoroughness in the solution. To drink something deeply means to fully embrace an experience, allowing oneself to have total awareness. For example, to drink deeply on a roller coaster ride would be to touch the bars, hear the screams, see the turns, and all other sensory stimuli that brings one to the present moment. To not drink deeply on the roller coaster would be to be focused on the line beforehand, the next activities after, or anything that pulls one away from their body. It is important to define drinking deeply as engagement with one's sensory awareness, because without the senses, it is impossible to be in one's body. Without being in one's body, then you can't be in the present moment. Being in the present moment is the essential component of drinking deeply. Next, to hold lightly. Going back to our roller coaster example, the rider, after having experienced the twists and turns of the roller coaster, may cherish that memory afterwards. If they were to go on to experience another activity, say ring toss, and we're comparing the experience of tossing the rings to the experience of the roller coaster, then they would be holding on too tight to the memory of the roller coaster. This makes it difficult to be in the moment for the ring toss. So holding lightly, even the deepest of everyday experiences, from the mundane to the spontane, is important, as it allows one to experience once again total awareness of the present moment. For our lives are composed of memories, events strung together that comprise our future action and our internal awareness. These memories need not be obstacles to being present in the moment, holding lightly the good as well as the bad, not allowing the past to dictate the present. Although to drink deeply, hold lightly, is a paradoxical philosophy, because when we experience a moment fully, it leads us to holding it more dearly. This makes it difficult to be present in the moment when we are thinking about a past memory. At the same time, to hold something lightly implies that we didn't fully embrace it. The implication being that our bodies cannot experience something at a deep sensory level without also integrating that into our being for the future. Take, for example, a person getting into a car accident and the experience leaves them traumatized. What causes the trauma in that situation? Is it the physical sensations that occurred during the accident? Must they be injured for it to have been felt on a sensory level? We know this to not be necessary, since the sensory experience doesn't have to be felt through damage to the peripheral nervous system. So is the trauma caused by the experience being an overload of sensory systems? I would say yes, and that when one is in the middle of what may be a traumatic event, they are often fully present in the moment. Often those in car accidents recall time slowing down prior to the crash. In those moments of extreme sensory stimulation, we are holding an experience as deeply as possible, and our body remembers this, making it difficult to hold it lightly. Every time that individual enters a car, or turns down a certain street, or sees a certain car, their body brings them back to the past of the moment of the accident. Trauma definitely being the lasting psychological effect of a distressing event. So some events in the course of life, filled with traumas for each individual, will hold greater weight than others. Some things will always weigh more and will be difficult to hold lightly. So in conclusion, to drink deeply, hold lightly, is a goal in life to deal with the microaggressions, slights, minor psychological challenges we all experience in our everyday life, allowing us to let go of what doesn't weigh much in the first place. At the same time, embracing the present moment as much as possible, especially the routine. Now, when it comes to events of greater sensory experience, we are forced to drink deeply, but to hold lightly can be nearly impossible. Such a philosophy is a good heuristic to remind ourselves when we deal with our mundane, but quite difficult when dealing with the trauma that occurs throughout our lives. Although I would say the drink deeply is a more worthwhile endeavor than the hold lightly, as I find holding certain things heavy to be necessary for one's continued survival. See my next episode. Forgive, but don't forget. Thank you for your time listening to Tlow's Thoughts. Wishing you all peace, love, and energy. Until next time, peace.